Great. Hi, everybody. Recruiting Animal Show. What's the date today?
The second.
Who's that? Anyway, hey, I'll start the show first. It's June 2nd, 2021. Okay, I got it right. Oh, it's Michael G. Cox. He's outside on a shady day. Just perfect. Okay. And the guest who just waved is Sean Mallaparkar. Now, I'm going to give him some advice before we get going, okay? Your real name is like Shoanak, is it? Shoanak?
It's Shoanak. That's how it's pronounced.
Shoanak, okay. You know what? Let me give you some advice. We don't want to see your ceiling, okay? Yeah. Adjust your camera so your face isn't, yeah, thank you. Okay, no, look, so it's Shoanak, so you've shortened it and changed the spelling, you've anglicized it. But you've got this name, Mallaparkar. Why don't you change that to Parker, Sean Parker, okay? Just like
Sean Mall. That'd be too much of a bitch. But so.
What do you mean a bitch? It's great. And there's a famous Sean Parker. No one would ever forget you, except you could spell it S-H-A-W-N because he's S-E-A-N. So you'd be Sean Parker, okay?
That's interesting.
I'm giving you free advice.
I've never thought of that. I just I came up with, I didn't even come up with this. So one of my teammates just didn't know my actual name.
What, is he on the ceiling? What are you looking up there for?
No. So what?
Somebody came up, you know what? He gave you a good idea. I think it was a good idea. Hi, Ernie. Okay.
Hey, how are you?
I'm going to introduce these guys. The guy, the Shadow Man today, the Shadow. The Shadow knows.
Am I in the shadow?
Yeah. Yeah, you are.
A little dark.
That's the sales. That's the salesrecruiter.com. He's a super sales recruiter in Texas. You want to do business with him. Foodindustryrecruiter.com. That's Ernie down there. Okay, but Michael G. Cox said, just put your fingers everywhere because they come out differently in the recording. And the guest, Sean Parker, Sean Mallaparkur, he's the CEO of a CRM company called, what's the name of your company?
RecruitCRM. It's like a very simple name.
RecruitCRM. You don't be so modest, okay?
It is. It's a good one.
It's a good one. And what's the URL?
It's recruitcrm.io.
.io. Okay. And I just want to tell you, I tried something new now. I bought a bunch of fortune cookies, and before the show, I pick one out for the guest, and yours says, you have great ability.
That's it. Like,
you have great ability and achievements. Is it true?
Depends on how you.
Okay.
Yes, just say yes.
The answer is yes.
Yes, the answer is yes. Okay. But on your LinkedIn profile, you seem quite quiet. Okay. But on your LinkedIn profile, you say, I'm extremely competitive. Okay. So that's like the sound of a wild man. How does that manifest itself in your business or everyday life?
So like, I've always been like super competitive, and like, I've always like been super proud of my wins. So like, when I was in 10th grade, I won like the Indian Robot Olympics, and like I was on the national team doing like a world robot Olympiad.
Will you stab somebody in the back to make sure you win, or like what?
No, we just built a robot that used like sound sensors.
So you like being in contests? Is that it?
Yeah. When I was in 11th grade, I did squash, and like I have an under 19 Asia Pacific ranking. When I was like a freshman in college, like,
okay, enough. I just wanted to know: are you cutthroat in any way? Are you cutthroat in any way?
Probably. I'm aggressive, right?
Oh, really? So, you're not showing it now.
No, I'm very polite now because I'm like. Okay,
but you've got my permission. You've got my permission. You can be just as aggressive as Ernie and Mike. Okay, and they're mean. I got to tell you, they criticize me all the time. Okay. You've got your company. Before we get to CRMs, just a few. Your company has a podcast. Everybody's got a podcast.
Yeah.
Are you the host, or do you listen?
I'm the host.
Okay. So I thought before we even get going, I mean, you've interviewed a bunch of people. I've never heard of any of them except Lou Adler. Okay.
Yeah. Lou's awesome.
You interviewed Lou?
Yeah, he did. Okay. I'll tell you one problem. I was listening on. I can't believe the most famous platform in the world, and I can't remember. That's Spotify, yeah, because I never use it. But you know what? You can't move it ahead or anything like that. So you have to listen to the whole thing or nothing.
No, that's not true.
Well, I couldn't find it. But
Someone needs to teach you how to use a computer, my
yeah,
friend.
maybe they should. Anyway, okay.
What's the name of the podcast?
What?
What's the name of the podcast?
Oh yeah, what's the name of it?
It's called Recruitment Entrepreneurs.
Okay.
So we interview recruitment entrepreneurs, and that's it.
Okay, I'm boring the audience now, but I was just curious, are there any lessons because I have learned some lessons by interviewing people here.
Yeah.
I hope everyone else has too. Have you learned anything that sticks out that you could share with us after you've interviewed about a dozen people?
About running a recruitment agency? Just charge more money. Like just straight up. Like
what does that mean?
You can never charge enough, right? So every single person I've spoken to, all the way to like folks that charge like 35% on retained searches, you could probably charge more.
What? Are you kidding?
Yeah. Like
anyone, this guy's not a recruiter, mind you, okay? He's never been a recruiter. You've never been a recruiter. Right?
My dad and co-founder ran Randstad's India business. That's how I started this.
Oh, what do you know?
Randstad is, reasonably large. So my dad worked at Randstad from the time I was 5.
Mm-hmm.
So all our friends are in recruitment since I was 5 years old.
Okay. And would anybody want to take him on about that? Increase your fees, increase your fees.
Yeah.
Anybody? You guys are.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm shocked.
Well, how do you justify an increase in, let's say, 5%?
Yeah. First of all, it's never like a straight up, hey, I want to charge you 5% more, because that sounds retarded. No one would like just increase.
Retarded is a word you're not allowed to say on this show. Okay.
My bad. But what you would first start with is you would first position to move all your searches from like essentially contingency to retained. So like we actually have someone on our podcast, episode 8, a lady called Louise Archer, whose entire business model is helping recruitment firms switch from contingency to retained. So that's the first transition you need to make, right? That's her business. She helps people who run regular recruitment firms transform their businesses into retained search firms. And so basically what you do is you need to figure out that a contingency search isn't just money later. It also means having to put in work and sometimes not making any money at all.
Trust us, we know.
Yeah, of course. And to start with, the first thing you need to do is making sure that you get paid every time you do any work at all. So the first transition is actually not increasing your fees. The first transition is trying to move into a fully retained model, even if you're doing mid-market recruitment. If you're reasonably good, and if every time you send 5 candidates, one of them gets an offer, there's a very high chance that you can transition into that model by positioning your offering. Okay,
I'll just tell you my objection. What the thing is with the recruit, see, you're saying if you're reasonably good and you've got a lot of certainty that you're going to find the person. But I'm never sure what's going to happen on a search. That's why I like the fact that it's contingent. If I make the placement, they have to pay me a big fee. But if I don't produce, they don't have to pay me anything. Whereas,
that's like living in versus getting married, right? Like you can quit whenever if it doesn't work out. But the thing is, if you want to make
when you get married too, but
you can, but it's harder, right? You can quit an executive search too, but it's
more
harder.
expensive.
It's more expensive, right? Like a divorce is expensive if you don't have a prenup, and so getting out of an executive search is also expensive. The thing is, the moment you take a retainer, like you don't screw around, right? You know that this client has paid you up front. You don't like go after a week and be like, oh, this search was super hard. We've sent them 10 people and they've rejected all of them. Let me like do this other search I can also work on.
Okay. Are any of us retained searchers?
By the way, by the way, that last part that you mentioned, like where you can just move on because your client this or that sounds very attractive to me.
But the thing is, I never feel like I could, if I've taken on a search, whether it's, I've worked lots of retained searches in association with big name companies, but when I work on my own as well, if I take on a search, I have a sense of responsibility. I don't think I can just screw off whenever I want.
Exactly.
No, yeah, every search that I've taken on that has been, and it's all been contingent, I'm never like, all right, we'll see. No, I'm busting my ass from day one. Obviously, that's not going to change anything. That's not going to change at all when I do retained. the concern that I think Animal and myself share is now I'm kind of tied into this thing and I can't walk away.
But that's the entire point, right? It's like burning the bridge and then marching forward, right?
It really is like what you enjoy doing. If you like retained, if you like, to me, retained is like you're working for a company. And
you're right.
I like, and they tell you what to do. I was on the HR side, and when I had a retained firm as the VP of HR, I treated them like crap. Produce. I want to see everybody's name. When you're in the contingency side, I'm going to take it my way. I'm going to do it. If I like you, I'll work with you. If I don't like you, I'm walking away.
But the problem is scaling is a lot harder in contingency, right? Because cash flow is not as predictable. Because the power of retained is once you get your retained practice large enough, if you have 6-7 consultants working for you, you can model cash flows a lot better than you can in contingency. It's just a fact, right? Like that's.
No, you're right, but I was going to say it just has to do with what your style is of how you want to work your company. Because the ultimate is when you become an independent recruiter and you own your own shop, you want to run it the way you want to run it.
Sure, of course. But the question is if there's a difference between you being a solo recruiter running it however you want to run it versus having 6 employees and having to pay them on the first of every month.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like how you set it up for yourself. If you want to set up this big company with a bunch of recruiters and then you want to grow it and have different locations and what have you, that's one way.
I got something to say though. It's a bit tangential, but now I believe Sean when he says he's mild-mannered but aggressive, because I always thought Ernie was a nice guy. And here he's told us he was a real prick with every recruiter who ever dealt with him. Like,
No, with retained
recruiters, because you pay, when you're in the VP HR level, you pay a person 1/3, right? If they don't produce for you, everyone around is asking you, what's going on? So you got to be kind of like,
Ernie, and it can be more than 1/3. So episode 13 of our podcast is with a guy called Robin, like my podcast, and
the guy who works from Japan, the Australian guy who's lived in Japan.
Yeah, and he said they would charge up to 50% on a placement for partners, and he's had years where his top placement has been $500,000.
Okay, you should get Tyron Giuliani on if you like Australians working in Japan.
Yeah,
he's been a guest here a couple of times, and he told us though, if you're placing Westerners in Japan, it's sort of a different game than being a local. He said it's a different environment. Yeah, he talked about that, but that is we're talking about Japan, okay? It's just especially an Australian in Japan. He said it's a different thing. Let's talk a bit about CRM since I hear you're in that business, okay?
Sure.
Okay. So first of all, though, so your podcast sounds good. I mean, you came back with a great answer to my question, and the audio, the sound is good. I was listening to that Australian guy, and it didn't bother me. So what's the name of it again?
Hey.
Okay. Recruitment entrepreneurs.
Okay, here's a tip. Why don't you go to GoDaddy for $20, get yourself a URL and forward it to that site. So because it's important. I tried to remember it's one of those long URLs. You got to have something memorable, and you can just tell us go to this.com and whatever it's called, and you can listen to the show.
Recruitment CRM isn't that long, is it?
Yeah.
It's not what. That's not what the podcast site is. Come on.
Oh, the podcast.
Yeah, like if you come to this, I can give you the URL from Zoom. It's this long. Instead, I have it bitchfest.ca, which is easy. I thought it was easy for everybody to remember, but everybody asks me what it was a minute before they get on the show. Okay, so recruitmentcrm.io. That's your company. Am I right? Did I remember it?
Just recruitcrm.io.
RecruitCRM. What is a CRM?
So what is a CRM in general, or what are like?
Yeah, we've got dummies in this audience, okay, and I'm number one.
So when you
start at the basics and don't let these guys push me out because I have to understand.
Got it. So CRM is basically customer relationship management.
Yeah.
Right. And a CRM system is a computer software system on the internet that lets you manage your customers. Now, but if you're being specific to recruitment, your customers are two folks, right? You have hiring managers and clients, and you have candidates. So the difference between a recruitment agency focused CRM like us, or maybe even Bullhorn, and a Salesforce is the fact that Salesforce is designed for salespeople to sell dead products to living prospects. A system like RecruitCRM or even Bullhorn and then our comparables are designed for a salesperson or a recruiter to sell human beings or pitch human beings to other human beings who are clients, which is slightly different and nuanced. Does that make sense?
No. Okay. So yeah, it was useless. And I let you talk and it was boring. Okay. What's the difference between a CRM and an applicant tracking system? That's a good place to start.
Okay. A CRM is where you track how much money your firm is making, right? Like your leads and
look,
deals.
I thought a CRM was a database that you use to do your marketing mailouts, essentially. Isn't that
No, you can also track the money that you're forecasting for this month or 90 days from now and all that.
Exactly.
And you can track all prospective clients. It's all on the client side. And I've actually also used it for like MPC campaigns. But it's all, it's all future-based stuff.
So when you said you've used it for an MPC, most placeable candidate campaign, what does that mean, Michael G. Cox? You can ask the questions because I don't have any good questions. You ask, and I can never depend on the guest to come up with a good explanation of what they do. You ask them some questions.
So on the CRM side, I use Salesflare, and I've actually set it up to where if I'm going to do an MPC campaign, usually with clients that I've done business with and not currently doing business with, I can set up a candidate and then work on pitching that candidate to those different clients.
So you can create a list. You can create a list in the CRM and attach a description of the candidate. Press a button and it does a mail merge, sort of, or whatever. It personalizes.
Yes,
it personalizes the message.
No, I don't use it for that. I use it to track the campaign, who I'm going after, what stage they're in, because I've got 20 different stages, and so I'm able to drag. Okay, this CRM for this client. This MPC.
We're going off the rails here. I'll let you do your pitch, and I'm going to move on. Okay, go ahead, Sean.
At a high level,
pitch us. Pretend you're trying to sell us. Okay.
Yeah, at RecruitCRM, we help recruiters make more money and just standardize, like keep all of their data in one place. So
it's better if they use a recruitment-oriented CRM than something like HubSpot.
Correct, because HubSpot doesn't have candidates and jobs and stuff like that, right? So you can't like go in and see the jobs you're recruiting for because it's not there. It doesn't exist.
Sean, why did you create it? Why?
Yeah, so the thing was,
Dad told him to.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm not even making it up. So I was in the US. I was in San Francisco 4 years ago, and my dad called me and he was like, "Hey, I'm either going to like retire or I have a bunch of money. Do you want to like do this with me?" And he financed it. So we don't have investors, but we've bootstrapped it to like 3 million in subscriptions now over the past like 4 years.
How do you do your business development?
We don't. People come find us online and they schedule a demo with myself or one of my sales reps.
Okay, and how would you get that many? So you just have inbound, right?
Yeah, and then we have referrals. So like about.
But how do you get people to find out about you? So that they come in and do the demo.
We only started marketing it. So actually, we didn't market at all till we got to about 500,000 a couple of years ago. So the first 500,000 was just like we did some super basic search engine optimization, right? And what we also had was a lot of my dad's buddies from Randstad.
There it is.
They basically quit Randstad and started their own recruitment and executive search firms in different parts of the Netherlands and India and so on. So that's how we got our first like 10, 15, 20 people. And then we did have random people just coming to our website and finding us.
Well, when they find you, what sells them on your product as opposed to all the other CRMs? Because how many CRMs are there in the market?
Recruitment agency focused, probably like less than 10.
Are you kidding?
Yeah. Yeah, overall, like generic CRMs probably 100, but recruitment agency focused CRMs less than
I didn't
10.
know that.
Yeah.
What does it cost?
Depends on the plan you pick up and sort of the country you're in, because the currencies are different, but anywhere between $69 per user per month if you pay annually to 119 on our most premium plan if you pay monthly.
So if you handle the client side, then what about the applicant side? What do you recommend?
We do everything. So RecruitCRM is a combined applicant tracking and ATS system. So we let you manage your careers page. We let you manage your clients, revenue forecasting. When you click on a deal, we show you the job you're recruiting for. And you can see the candidates inside that. And we actually have a submission tool too. So you can like click a button and send candidates to clients, and then they can tell you if they like the candidates or not. And it's all like in one ecosystem. So the idea is you have LinkedIn.
I got lots of questions for you, but I wanted to give you a chance to talk about your product. Why did you want to come on this show? I mean, you guys approached me, so maybe that's how I should have said. What is it you want to tell us? Why are you here?
Sure, dope. So
because obviously you don't watch the show. Some guy named I don't know, what was it?
It was a girl. It was a girl. It was mother.
Okay, she
How
approached
dare
me.
you?
Yeah.
It was a foreign name. It wasn't Sean Parker, okay?
Yeah, all good. Yeah, so she's on our marketing team, and mother-in-law basically runs like gets people to interview me. Gets me to interview folks on the podcast. So she just puts stuff on my calendar, and I'm just supposed to do it.
Yeah, but why did she put you here? Why? So just so you could say that recruit
Yeah. She thought it'd be fun and interesting, and she could write a blog post on it. So she wanted.
Then I'm going to move on. We've given you a chance, okay, to do your thing. Okay. Okay. So let me see what to do. Okay, are you disruptive or revolutionary? Okay, every vendor says I'm disruptive, I'm revolutionary.
We don't say shit like that. We just say, hey.
Thank God. Okay, so hey, animal, I don't need to answer that question. I am not revolutionary. I'm not disruptive. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, we're just a great system.
Normal. Okay, and I think recruiters should use the. They're always marketing people are telling us, oh, you got to tell everybody how you're distinctive. We're not distinctive. We're all the same, aren't we? Well, I'm different. No, you're not.
No, to a large extent, right? The features in every
animal,
product,
you are different.
Yeah, you are.
You're a thought leader.
Yeah. But at a high level, most systems are super similar, especially like features and shit. The main thing that's different is like how smooth, like how easy the system is to use, right? It's like cars, right? You have a Ferrari and you have like a Subaru, whatever. They're both cars, they both drive, they both go reverse, but like one is a little smoother than the other. And you only sort of know that when you try it out, right? So it's how simple it is.
So if somebody's using your product and they're not happy with it, can they just easily port it over somewhere else?
They just hit cancel and done. We stop charging you.
Wow! And then they can put their data. They can transfer
they
their
can
data.
They can export their data whenever they want.
That's great. That's like contingent, isn't it? He's telling us to do retain.
No.
But these guys are like contingent.
But we charge you up front, right? So we charge you up front every month or every year, depending on.
Yeah, but it's not a huge amount. I mean, it's $70 or $115. Okay.
John, have you ever done recruiting, John?
I have not. I've only seen my dad do recruiting, but like, so I have never done recruiting.
I think he'd be a good recruiter. He's level-headed. He knows all the tech stuff. I think he'd be good. And he's got his dad to talk to whenever he needs a mentor. Okay. Let me move on.
I hope I make enough money on this though. And I can do recruiting.
I'm not telling you to become a recruiter. I'm just giving you a compliment like the fortune cookie did. I think you do a good job. You would have big achievements. Okay. Here. Okay. When you
good school counselor.
Okay, on Facebook, this guy, what's the name? His Cameron, whatever his name is. He said he's a well-known sourcer. He said he sent a really good engineer in for a position, but before the interview, he had to tell him to stop picking his nose during an interview. Have you ever had that issue with? I didn't make it up. I wouldn't have the nerve. Okay, but have you ever had that issue where you had an engineer who was really good, impressive technically, but he did something gross like that? I mean, do you hire yourself?
No, we hire a lot of engineers. That's never happened to me.
Never happened.
No one putting their finger in any hole in their body.
Okay, and no one clips their nails. I've heard about that as well. Nothing odd. So you've never had an odd interview, is that right?
No, I've had odd interviews, and I've had like very, very silly situations where we ask the person like, do they know what job they're interviewing for, or what company they're interviewing with, and they don't know.
Why? What would make you ask that question?
No, we would like, because they would seem.
Oh,
super,
you ask them, and do you know which company we are? Is that what you?
Yeah, you know what our company is called, and they'd be like, I don't know.
What kind of idiot would be?
Yeah, and then the interview ends there, but that does happen. That shit happens.
Yeah, but how did they even get into the interview then? Because they must be technically okay. They must be screened before they get to you. You're the boss.
What does it matter?
No, so this
Matter
is.
if they know your company.
Yeah,
Yeah,
go
yeah.
ahead. Yeah.
No, it wasn't even that. So it's like, do you know what the role is? And then they say, and this was very early on where we would do this like sort of the first call and stuff ourselves, but we would have situations where we would have like a recruitment. Back then we didn't have like an internal HR or talent acquisition team. So we worked with a couple agencies, and they would basically just send us, say, PHP developers. The PHP developers would just come into the office like back, pre-COVID, and we would give them like a technical test, and we would do their interview right then and there, and like they would do the test.
But what Michael G. Cox, he's taking you a long time to answer. Okay, Michael G. Cox says they do the tech
He
test.
actually said it didn't matter anymore.
Oh no, they do the technical test, and they're okay. They can do the job.
Yeah.
He said, what does it matter if they care about your company? Or are you one of those guys who want them to be passionate? I'm a member of this team. We want to win.
Are they still working for you?
No, that's great. But like the problem is, if someone's so unprepared, if someone drives like 30 minutes to come to an interview and they don't know what the company's name is, they don't need to know what we do super well. But if they don't know what the name is, that's just stupid. So it's not about like passion. It's just about like, if you're not.
Let me move on. Look, this show's going slow. I want to pick it up for the last half hour. What about personality? If someone has a personality that doesn't click with yours, but technically they're okay, would you say that's a good reason to exclude? I know a lot of people will say no. I think it is a good reason. You agree with me? Yeah. Why?
Yeah.
Why?
So, see, this is the thing, right? We only have, like right now we have 32 people on our team. We'll probably be 50 by the end of this year. I'm in India. We have 1 billion people. If I'm going to pick the 50 people that work for me, I need to like talking to them when I'm on a Zoom call with them. Like, that's just, it's so depressing. If
Are you guys with us? With I don't know, if you don't want to stick your neck out, but lots of people would say, well, that's how you get these non-diverse situations. You just like people who are like you got to have people who are completely different. What about you, Michael G. Cox? Are you on board with me and him? We want to enjoy. I like having you and Ernie here. I honestly do. I get along with you.
And our personalities are very different. I'm okay with different personalities, but the answer that Sean gave,
he's up there.
He's up.
He's down there for me.
The answer that Sean gave was, now that he started talking about how they need to enjoy conversing on Zoom calls and in meetings, and I don't think that's just a personality thing. So you could have completely different personalities, and I think that's totally okay. But you also need to be personable with the people that you work with, and have totally different personalities is okay.
Exactly. Because
you're not disagreeing with. He's agreeing with us. Come on, wake up. What was that, Sean Parker?
Yeah.
You asked if it's okay to have, you interview an individual and your personalities are very different. Is that okay?
Well, I meant like,
he said,
okay. Yeah, okay, don't justify yourself. Ernie, do you have something to say?
It comes more to a question of, does the person bring drama to you? And if you don't want drama, you
don't deal with it.
You don't deal with it. They can be great, and whatever they do, their personalities, their background, whatever. But if you're like always wanted to be the king bee, then the queen bee, then no, you're out of there.
Okay. Does it matter how they dress to you?
No.
Sean Parker?
No. As long as they wear clothes, right? Like just yeah.
Okay. And what about educational pedigree? I know you've got some
irrelevant.
Well, why? I hear it's really relevant in the United States for techies. sometimes these guys, the hiring managers say, I only want people from these schools.
Yeah, we don't like if we talk to you and you sound reasonably intelligent and we give you a technical test and you pass it and we like you as a personality type, we hire you.
Okay.
Are you the only one that does the hiring, or are there other people? Or
Yeah. So we have one person who runs talent acquisition for us, and then we are currently hiring a specialized IT recruiter to do more, and then Dad handles. So Dad actually does most of the primary recruiting. I'm just there on the final interview.
Okay, Dimple is saying something. She's in India, but I can't understand it. So you're welcome to speak up if you want to ask him a question. Don't be so shy. Okay, but I've got lots of questions. I'm going to read you something I saw on Twitter from an ex-recruiter, an ex-tech recruiter. He said 95% of tech recruiters have no fucking idea what they're talking about or looking for. When I recruited at Google, he was there. He said, I also had no fucking idea what I was talking about and what our bosses were telling us to look for. Do you agree that that is a big problem with tech recruiters?
Yeah,
Sean Parker.
Yeah, that is a problem, which is why you'll see there's some recruitment firms started by ex-engineers, and those tend to perform a lot better than, and they tend to perform a lot better than recruiters.
Really? How do you know that they perform better? Because in my group, and there's a lot of people.
I have data. I have over 500 of these companies running on my platform, moving revenue data to me.
Oh, look at that. He knows everything. He's got the inside scoop, right? Nobody can lie to you.
Yeah. And we talk to them, right? Like, so obviously we don't publish this data and stuff, but we know anonymized numbers, right?
Okay. He says, I'd like to sick. Too bad Amy's not here today. She would rip you to shreds. Okay. But maybe not, but maybe you'd stand fast.
No,
okay.
Maybe yes.
This guy says, he said, most recruiters are literally kids with worthless communication degrees.
No.
That got into.
That's not. I didn't quite say that. I just said.
No, you didn't say it. That guy on Twitter said it. He said most of these tech recruiters are kids with useless degrees who just fell into this and they came in right out of college, so they have no experience that's valuable of any kind.
Didn't everybody just fall into this?
What?
So?
Didn't everybody just fall into this recruiting?
Well, you said you were working in HR before, Ernie.
Yeah, but you sort of fall into recruiting.
Yeah, okay. Not right out of school.
No, nobody picks it. Nobody knows about it. Nobody picks it. Nobody really studies it. And so what? Yeah. What's his point?
That they're no good. That's why they're stupid. No, okay. They're just ignoramuses.
Okay, my point is, he's never said that to somebody's face.
You know what? I invited him to come on the show. Okay, so we'll see what happens.
He's being hard online.
Okay.
Okay, Sean Parker, you go for it.
Okay, Sean Parker. Let me see here. Have you ever let a recruiter or someone else convince you to hire? Like I read. Hold on. Like I'm the recruiter. I'm the dummy.
He's working with his dad. His dad's telling him who to hire.
Dad's not in his office. Maybe he's in his. I don't know.
His dad is a recruiter.
Okay, but no. I work my ass off to bring in this candidate, and I think she's really good. And you say, bring me some more. And I say, are you crazy? I'm going to go out there and look for more people. She's good. She's what you're looking for. Are you going to listen to me, or are you just going to say, why not? Why won't you listen to me?
Not with that tone.
Yeah, not with that tone. But like
I'm just passionate. Aren't you supposed to be? He's too cool. He's looking laid back. This guy.
So if we talk to somebody and like we get a vibe, like we don't like the person, it's just over.
It's not a vibe. You don't think the person can do the job. You're not sure. And I'm saying
that's okay. So the vibe tells you that they probably will be able to
your
do
vibe.
it.
Yeah. Okay. Look,
you
know what?
I can't document vibe for as a reason to let somebody go if I was on the inside.
Okay.
So you call them and tell them I'm passing on you, and then they ask, well, why wasn't I selected? You say, I don't like you. I don't like you.
But
he
that's
doesn't
another
call
question.
them and tell them that.
Yeah.
That's another question.
He emails him and says, I don't like you.
I don't like your
Yeah,
vibe,
exactly.
man.
He emails them and says, we'll keep your information on file.
Here's
No,
the
we don't.
thing.
We don't tell them that, but we do have folks that go tell them that they were not a good fit, which is the right answer because they were.
No,
not
it
a good
isn't.
fit.
Here, people are always, I'm going to stick my neck out. You have a fantastic American accent, I got to say, but you say V instead of
Yeah.
W. Stop doing that, okay?
I can't do it, right?
You're
Like
so close. You're like
like
99% of the way there. It's great.
I know, but
I'm impressed.
it's like something that's been like drilled into you, and you've been conversing like that since you were like what 3 years old. So you
Yeah,
Your
well,
accent.
hold up, Sean. Hey, recruiting animal. You
Yeah.
say process instead of
I'm
process.
Canadian.
So-
Okay, that's legit
You're the
here.
fat one.
Okay. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. So hold on. The thing is, there's always people preaching to us. If you reject someone, you've got to tell them why. Treat them like a human being. Okay. You can't tell them, I don't like your vibe. Well, you can't say that, can you?
No, you
Okay.
can tell them they were not a good fit for the role.
Yeah, but that's vague. So you believe in being vague. Even if with a technical person, you can't say, look, I thought your skills in this area were kind of weak and stuff like that. Will you do that? Will you give them that?
I think the recommendation that we're trying to lead you towards is you need to make hiring decisions based on the requirements of the role, and then be honest when you tell somebody no, why they weren't selected.
No, you can't tell them, especially if it's the vibe. I mean, I think vibe. I told them I think that's.
Well,
a
that's why you don't
legitimate
make decisions based on vibe.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Okay.
So we didn't get a vibe with you. You know, it just didn't click.
Yeah, what's wrong with that? I gotta spend 8 hours a day with this person. You know
You're
what?
bringing me down, man.
Yeah, I worked at this company. I worked at a company. I worked at a company, and there was this guy there. Like everybody hated. When I first started, this girl said, "Stay away from him. He's a worm." And you know what? She was right. He was awful. I hated his guts. And not only that, having somebody who was different than me didn't make the office better. Okay, it made it worse.
That's probably not the best thing to say, but.
Okay.
The thing is, most people wouldn't be honest about this and don't straight up say this, but like a lot of executives probably don't hire folks they don't vibe with. And when I say vibe doesn't just mean like, you know, you get a beer with them. That's not just the vibe, right? You don't need to ever meet them outside of work. The thing is, if they come in and you talk to them and they're technically all right, but they just seem so depressing, like so I want every person in my company or in my team to like care about kicking ass and doing well, right? So they should be ambitious. They should want to like get promoted and become a senior engineer, an architect, whatever, right? And sometimes you can just tell that this person is technically all right, but they're probably always just going to do the bare minimum because like they don't really give a shit about the job or any job, not just this job.
Well,
right?
Sean, but as you build your company, though, aren't there like some people that want to be the next Sean, and then there are other people who just want to stay in their lane?
True. When you have 500 people or 1,000 people and you're super large org and you need to hire 200 folks, yeah, you can't set the bar like that because then you just wouldn't fill your positions. But when you're a tiny little startup with 30 people that needs to hire 1 or 2 people a month, you can be super hardcore about, hey, every single person I have should be at a director level or higher when we're 500 people, right? And everyone won't make it, but everyone should at least want to make it.
How are you attracting people to a small company? Do you have lots of money, deep pockets to pay them?
We're very profitable because, like, you know, we're basically doing $100,000 in subscription per employee per year, which is a lot of money in India. And so we can pay a lot of money.
Kendra
right?
says something about a bullet test. Do anybody else understand what she was talking about?
No.
Sorry.
You talked about the 30 people that you would have at a startup. You want that core that would take a bullet for you.
Come on, they don't even know what company they're interviewing with. Okay, take a bullet for me.
It's so wrong these days. It's so wrong.
No, but you don't want them to take a bullet for you now. But you want to know that if you want to get the feeling that if you're with this person in a year, they might take a bullet for you, right? And you can tell. You can look at folks and be like, no, this person's gonna like throw me off the cliff one day. Then they can versus somebody else.
Ain't nobody taking a bullet.
So,
Okay.
so politically correct there.
Especially not this month. This last month was nuts.
Okay. Would you tell us, since you've got the inside dope, like maybe that doesn't tell you what's going on the outside, but what about, is recruiting like a numbers game in your book? Do you believe it's, get on the phone, talk to as many people as you can, or is it mostly like other people say, an inbound kind of thing? You have to post a lot of dumb stuff on LinkedIn and
the recruiters that we work with that make the most money are mostly 100% headhunters.
Yeah, what's their style? There's the headhunters and there's headhunters, right? I mean, there's people on the phone and there's people
not the hardcore cold call KPI. So the people we talk to that make the most money tend to have the smallest databases relatively, right? But their databases tend to be the most detailed. So they have a lot of notes on each person. They know that this person, this is Andy. Andy's 35. He has 3 kids. His daughter is Sarah. And they have a lot of data on these high quality candidates that they have conversations with. So they're not trying to do a boiler room 80 calls a day. They're probably having 7, 8, 10 high quality conversations with 8 or 10 candidates. And they're good at their cold call or calling or whatever. So they're able to have those deep conversations. And then over a period of time, they're able to make a lot of placements from that cohort of candidates that they talk to over years.
And are they highly niche? You know what a niche?
Yeah. Most of them are niche. So like most of our clients who do very well like this are super specialized, right? Like Robin doing legal recruitment in Japan, or someone specializing in just hiring like CFOs at private equity firms for private equity portfolio companies. And so because the more specialized you are, the deeper you understand like the roles you're hiring for, and the deeper your conversations with these candidates can be, especially when you're talking director level and up, right? Because they're getting like a bunch of recruiters calling them every day.
And is there anything else then, since you've got this, okay, they're niche players, they talk deep conversations, not mass conversations.
No, and
what
like,
else?
And collect data, right? So you don't just have a great conversation and like forget about it. You have a great conversation. The guy is probably not looking to switch jobs or whatever, but maybe when their kids are about to go to high school or graduating from high school or whatever, they might be interested in 2 years. So you set up tasks and stuff to call them in literally like 2 years, and maybe even like check in with them in the middle, and keep building a profile on that person, right? Like a hit list sort of thing, right? like what did they say?
Update the CRM.
Yeah, and that's what you would use the CRM.
Okay,
for.
but if you've got, I want more data from the top producers that you have. But if you've got a CRM, are you sending out mailers like articles and stuff like that to your list
not
of?
Too much. If you have some unique, super high quality content, sure, send it over. So, for example, on my end, like off all of the podcasts I've recorded, the one with Lou Adler is like the best, because it's not just because he's a great big name, it's because he's, everything comes out of his mouth is like good shit, right? Like it's useful. And so that's the only podcast that I've actually pushed out to our audience, right? Where I've emailed it to prospects and I've been like,
well, because it's pertinent to your audience.
Yeah, but the same way, if you're a recruiter, no, the other 12 interviews are also pertinent, right? But I don't want to send them one interview every week, because
Lou Adler being the godfather of recruiting.
Yeah.
Self-appointed.
But here's the point. I don't understand why, if recruiters are his clients and he's got a CRM, why isn't he using it to send out monthly or bi-monthly links to these people to keep him top of mind? I guess he's top of mind because they're using his tool every day. But
the average user uses our system for like 2.5 hours a day. So like we're always top of mind.
Okay, but okay. So, Kendra, are you? Isn't everybody always saying you have to stay in touch with people? You got, maybe it's still okay. That's you're using your tool. But what if you're a candidate? You might not speak to that person. You're saying like for 5 years till the kids are ready to leave high school. If you send him something every 3 months, he might call you. Is that unreasonable? And use your tool to do that.
True, but again, right? Even people like overplay the whole automation piece, where they're like, oh, set up this sequence of like 500 emails that go out to this person and automated voicemails, and that doesn't work, because Because people today, just like you can recognize fake news, people can recognize automated emails. And like, no one likes being on a fucking sequence, right? Like, no one wants to be.
Not everybody can recognize fake news.
Yeah. Okay.
So you
But-
don't have that system. You don't have that within your system, an automation.
We do. You can do bulk emails, and you can email 1,000 people, and then we do integrate with MailChimp and stuff where you
Right.
can start like those nurturing campaigns. But like, I honestly, personally, we built that stuff because people ask for it, but I personally don't think it works as well as people think it does.
I understand. I agree with you. Yeah.
It doesn't. It's very easy to say no when somebody contacts you in an email or an in-mail or something like that. Unless you're leading with, video injected into those really helps, unless you burn it with doing that on a monthly consistent basis. Hey, here's another video. Hey, here's another video. And it's just over
That's
and over.
what you're doing, isn't it, Michael G. Cox?
No.
I thought you were.
I do use video, but I don't inundate with one a month or one a week.
I'm so confused. Here's a guy who has mass data on recruiters. He knows how much they're making. He knows how many accounts they've got in their ATS, and he's telling us that all this marketing stuff that people tell us all the time is wrong. Don't push stuff out to
Don't
people.
don't overdo it. I'm not saying like go zero. I'm just saying.
You said it. You said go zero.
No,
Okay.
It's a situation where we've created tools to be more successful and combat the tools that were created years ago. Because at one point it was like, oh, everybody do this marketing, and it worked for a while, and then the marketing world burned that. So your newsletter, that was great, in like 99, 2000, and then your next thing was great until it got burnt out. And right now in 2021, people, they just believe, even if you send a monthly email and you type it up yourself on a monthly basis, they believe it's coming from a robot. It's just the assumption. And if you are sending it out on a monthly basis to your thousands or hundreds or tens of people, they think it's not personalized to Sean or to Ernie or to Michael. So it's
I still have trouble when
out.
they say, hey, recruiting animal, I think maybe they know me, He just said not everybody can tell fake news. I guess I'm one of those people.
Okay, what would really help and make you believe that they're actually talking to just you, the recruiting animal, they would have to do something like, recruiting animal, dude, I saw your show the last time when you had Sean on.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you're a jerk. You come across as a total jerk. I'm sure you're great at what you do.
Oh, yeah.
I thought I could help you with this.
Okay.
Or you plug what you talk to them about on that deep, high quality conversation into that email.
Yeah.
Because that's when
or even the next little guru, samurai ninja level up, whatever you want to call it this year, is to actually know the person.
Yeah.
And so there is a massive shift towards getting away from the 100 cold calls or the 100 cold emails per day and actually focusing on 10. And those 10 individuals, you're going to work to try and build a deeper understanding of who they are, where they're at, what they're concerned about, and not sound canned when you approach those people. And because you're doing this 10 times a day, infinity days, when you have those conversations, as recruiters do within their niche, I can talk to a VP of sales and say, hey, by the way, how are you handling this little obscure aspect of your job?
Yeah.
Because what I've heard is others are doing this. And now I'm sharing insights.
Wow, that
from
Michael
other
G. Cox is one smart guy, okay?
Yeah.
No, it's just what is working right at this moment. And I'm trying to make
it change. And it's going to change.
She wants to ask you. She wants to ask
Michael, do you screen these folks with this in-depth, warm emotional screening via phone, or do you do it on Zoom or Teams?
They
I
wouldn't
have
do it-
only one. I have only one client that like insists on Zoom. Everybody else is like zoomed out, and they all want to just do it over the phone.
The guest has to, he wants to speak. He's raising his hand.
Okay,
Go ahead.
Sean.
Sean Parker.
Yeah, so like, going back into that, right? If you're doing executive recruitment and your average placement is someone that makes 200K or up and you make 25% on it, that's 50K. That's 50K placement. So you technically.
I'm not doing any of that.
Me
Okay.
neither.
I want to do that. Where's that?
Okay, but maybe like 120, 150K and 25% of that is maybe 30, 40K, right? But
There you go.
Not that either.
The point is, right?
Lower.
Yeah. now you're going into the depression zone. But you probably need to do
Our
like,
fortune cookies didn't say what yours did. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
yeah. Yeah, so you probably want to make maybe to do good like 10 to 20 placements a year, right? And if you're talking to very high quality candidates, you know that if you take this candidate and send them to like 3 people, they're going to get a job. Like you can tell, right? If you talk to a candidate, you talk to them for 20 minutes, you're like, this guy can get a job, right? He's not going to like flop everywhere. And so if you literally have 100 high quality relationships, right? Where 1/3 of those people use you to get their next job or call you to get their next job, because these are super high quality conversations that you have with them every 3 or 4 months.
Faster. Okay, don't put me to sleep.
Yeah,
Okay, I got a question. No, I got a question. I got a question. Okay, since Kendra showed up, I'm burning my. You got the inside track. We keep seeing people who put men down. Oh, men are terrible. Oh, they're overconfident. They're arrogant. Women, they're so modest. They're always excusing themselves. They're sheepish. They don't like asking for money. They won't negotiate. Blah 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 blah. How does that bear out on this inside dope that you see on your from your clients, on their data? Are there female recruiters who are socking it to them?
Yeah,
sock it to me is like a good thing. Okay,
well,
sock it to me.
There's like this
making money.
Yeah, they're making tons of money, but there's like the special breed, right? I don't know if it's more a European thing, but there's a lot of female recruiters at regular recruitment firms, but then there are these special firms that are female only. They only hire women. They're like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people. It's all women. They don't hire men ever, and they tend to perform better than the average. That's just like,
why? I'm going to be saying women by the time this show is over. Trust me. I'm telling him to
It's
say
barely noticeable.
okay.
yeah. And some of these firms, right? They literally, like, when we go on a demo with them, we're like, they literally go like, hey,
okay, let me, I don't know, is it because those engineers that they're recruiting like talking better to women like Kendra than they do to Michael G. Cox or Ernie or me? Is that why?
But it's not necessarily engineers, right? Because like we don't, like, our clients do all kinds of recruitment, right? They recruit whatever.
Are they recruiting men? Is it that the men candidates like talking to the women recruiters?
I don't know.
I have seen that. Okay, so you can't say it doesn't happen. Or is it just that they've got, especially working as a team, they've got a special knack?
I don't know the underlying data under that. I just know the outcome data. I don't know how they're.
Okay, you're modest. I appreciate that. Anybody want to comment on that? Okay. So you didn't address the issue though that I asked. Are they sheepish and overly modest, and you don't know why?
He doesn't know
what the dynamic.
He doesn't know. He just sees the end result.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey,
there's 5 minutes left. What do you want to talk about?
By the way, to Kendra's point, most of those conversations start with, especially last year, VPs of sales that were on job search. And I just helped. I wasn't able to place them. I didn't have those types of jobs in my network. But I had one first initial conversation that would be like 45 minutes long, and then another one that would be just as long, and then another one. And it was almost like a monthly, regular, long, in-depth conversation about them, their career search. And during that time, most of them figured out that, hey, this guy knows what he's talking about, and he definitely knows recruiting. And so it was those long form conversations. So I'm always trying to get into those longer conversations.
They help because it moves it from being like transactional and like, hey, I got a job. Do you want to do an interview? To like actually getting to know the people. It helps for sure.
Ernie, do you have any
Yeah,
ideas? Sorry,
I have
go
one
ahead.
question, Sean.
I'll
Going
get
back to your CRM,
Kendra, don't worry.
looking at your website here. What's the one feature that you feel is you kick butt over all other?
Check out our Chrome extension.
The Chrome extension?
Yeah, so you can
What does
literally
it do?
so you can go to anyone's profile on LinkedIn and you can click on it. And not only will it scan it and pick up their phone number and email, it'll also save their entire LinkedIn profile into a PDF, which is Boolean searchable. It'll pick up all of their skills from LinkedIn and tag them in. And then if the candidate has already been put in your database by one of your other recruiters, it'll tell you that and it'll show you the jobs they've been assigned.
Will LinkedIn put you in jail for that?
No, because this is information that's already loaded on the screen. We're not scraping, like I'm not doing mass scraping.
Okay,
So-
Kendra, you wanted to ask a question? Well,
Yeah.
one more for Ernie, though. I'll come back to you, Kendra. Ernie's always asking about what ATS should I use? Okay, do you have
So-
some questions for the expert? It's right here.
So what is coming up next? What do you see happening in the world of CRMs?
So for us, right? So people talk about like AI a lot, but the question is, how are you using AI, right? What? So one of the big things we're doing, we have a small AI team now of like 3 folks. First thing we're doing is obviously building a recommendation engine, right? Where you put in a job description and we say, hey, within your database, these are the 3 people that might be a good fit, right? And that engine gets better as you use it and a bunch of other clients use it.
I gotta give her. Oh, she's left. Why didn't you tell me a few minutes ago? Now you had to make me feel
Once
bad.
again, Animal, you made the woman wait and you took the man's question. Just saying. Just saying.
Yeah. Okay. Look, let's do a last pit. I'm sorry, Ernie. Ernie has lots of questions. I'm going to give you one more tip. You're a very good guest, Sean. You have to talk a little faster, okay?
Okay.
You got to talk a little faster. You have to practice that because otherwise, when you get to YouTube and people listen to this, they'll want to speed it up at double speed, and then they won't be able to understand the rest of us. Okay, do a pitch now. We're signing off. I want you to pitch your product again.
Cool. So, hey guys, you should totally try out RecruitCRM, recruitcrm.io. We'll help you and any recruitment firm you work with make more money by helping you manage your clients and candidates and submissions all in one place. So you don't need to like look into 3 tools to look at your data. That's sort of it.
Do you want to say it's modestly priced?
And it's affordable.
Yeah.
And you can try it for free.
Yeah, you can try it for free, and it's affordably priced.
Do you have an AppSumo deal? I need a lifetime deal on that.
We don't do any of that. So we're standard price. We don't do any of those bulk lifetime.
Shit, is it recording?
Yeah.
Love those though.
Recording. It's recording. For a second, I was worried it wasn't recording. Hey, Sean Mallaparkur. Did I? What is it?
Purkar.
Yeah.
What's your last name?
Mallaparkur.
Boom.
You say it.
Boom.
You say it. I didn't hear it. What's your name?
I'll say it with the Indian accent, right? Because it's Mallapurkar.
I got it. Mallapurkar. I said it right.
What is your first name? Your first name isn't Sean. Say the whole thing.
Yeah, so it's Shoanak Mallapurkar.
Great.
Perfect.
Sean, come back again. Thank you.
Guys.